Let's talk the weekend game as the Mariners are about to host Barrow just before the Mariners' international break. And the Cumbrians are not in great form, but it is going to be an interesting day for the Mariners as Rosey heads back to North East Lincolnshire with his new side, but his new side need a boost, I would say, really. Hopefully they don't get it this weekend. So if we look at the pre-match press conference, there's been progress made with all injuries so far. Obviously, some will be stronger than others. He wasn't specific on who, what, where, and when. Obviously, he was asked about Jason's injury, and again, I think he could be one of the ones that have, even though he was on the bench last game, he could be maybe, might have had a little bit of a setback. We don't know. Chaz is definitely on the way. Cam's on the way. And it's just about now biding our time and seeing how the injuries sort of develop. Any other major returns, or sometimes we won't know until the day of the game, really. But Hartel obviously keeps his sort of cards close to his chest. I understand why, because at times during his spell where he's been very, very open, and then things have either not happened and it's kind of backfired. So the injuries are coming on well, and there's always a couple of niggles, which is right throughout the season. There always is. I don't know a team that's got every single player fit at the same time. It's not impossible, but and obviously the pre-match spoke to a lot about the link between him and Rotherham. I am going to put a video out about my opinion on that coming up. Two videos really coming up next week, obviously, about my thoughts on that, and of course the international break as well, my thoughts on that. So we've got two videos from me coming up next week because of obviously no game for the next week for the Mariners. So let's quickly though get into this game against Barrow. Like I say, it's the return of Danny Rose to town. And Barrow at the start of the season was a team that I thought was going to surprise a few people. They had Andy Wing at the start of the season, but they've kind of been an absolute disaster zone. They had Paul Gallagher, and then they sacked him and brought in Dino Mamria, and now they've got rid of Dino Mamria as well, and one of their players is now temporary coach there, and you're thinking something doesn't feel right at Barrow, because like I said, I had them down in my pre-season predictions as a dark horse, a team you wouldn't expect to be up there, and and with Rosey going there in January, and then a guy getting sacked within a couple of weeks of Rosey going there. I don't think it's been the best of starts for him. And like I said, obviously Barrow, bottom of the table, 29 points. The Mariners in the final playoff place, 59 points. The Mariners have scored 51 goals to Barrow's 36. And if we look at some of the overall stats throughout the season, And the Mariners have conceded 40 goals to Barrow's 58. 365 shots for the Mariners, just under 300 for Barrow, 278. 176 on target and 121 on target for Barrow, 189 off target for the Mariners, and 157 off target for Barrow, and 147 block shots for Grimsby Town, and 120 block shots for Barrow. If we look at the passing accuracy between the two sides, not a lot in it. The Mariners just edged it at 71.2, whereas Barrow are 69.38. This is all coming from the BBC Sport website. And of course, points gained from a losing position. What do the opposition really? Only 5 points for Barrow. From winning positions, they've dropped 10 points. We've done 9 and 14 respectively. So if we look at the recent form of the two sides, it couldn't be more contrastable than this. The Mariners have won 3 of their last 5, only 1 defeat in the last 5, and only 2 defeats in the last 17. Shows you sort of where the Mariners are with that midweek 1-0 last minute goal against Fleetwood. The only loss in the last 5 games have come away at Oldham, and in midweek Oldham also backed it up with a 3-0 win against Chesterfield. A 1-1 draw for Grimsby against the league leaders. We also won 3-1 at home to Salford, who have really gone on a burst since then, and also winning at Meadow Lane 1-0 at the end of February. So the Mariners form pretty strong, pretty solid. Barrow's, on the other hand, if you look at their form in recent times, they've lost 3 of their last 5, only drawing 2. The last time out was a 3-1 defeat away at Salford. They did get a 0-0 draw at home to Accrington. Of course, Danny Rose scored in that game against Salford, going back to that game. Rosey scored their goal. He scored 2 goals whilst at Barrow so far during his spell there so far. They lost 2-0 at home to Bristol Rovers. They drew 2-2 against Cheltenham, and losing 1-0 against the very under fire Gillingham. And within that time, like I said, so many changes. It never does a team any good. We're kind of hoping that works in our favour for this sort of game. But as we know, I always class these games as the most difficult ones, because you expect to win these ones. You can, but you have to treat them with the level of respect as you would give a Notts County, as you would give a Salford, or as you would give an MK Dons. And I think even more so, because they are playing for their lives. They're fighting for their lives, and the next three games include 3 of the bottom 4. So that's telling you that maybe we're on paper in for sort of like a nice set of fixtures, but I think these are going to be quite difficult ones. If we go back to the game, obviously, if we go back to the last times we've played each other the last 17 times. The Mariners have won 8 of those. Barrow won 4, and there's been 5 draws in there. But obviously, in the last 3, we actually haven't won. But actually, to make that clear, one of the match facts here, which I'm taking from the BBC Sport website, Grimsby Town are winless across the last 4 Football League games against Barrow, drawing 1 and losing 3. Their longest run against the Cumbrians for a long while, that was the 2-2 draw back in November of 25, actually where Rosey scored as well. But a 2-1 defeat for Barrow 2-1 defeat against Barrow in September of 24. Obviously, January 25 we lost 3-0 at Barrow, and just this past November it was the 2-2 draw between the two sides. So, overall we've got a good record against Barrow, but not recently. If we look at another fact, 3 more facts given to us by BBC Sport website. Barrow have lost 15 of their 17 away Football League games against Grimsby, only winning 2, failing to score in 11 of those matches. The Cumbrian side did win this exact fixture last season, however. Grimsby are unbeaten in their last 9 home league games, winning 5 and drawing 4. Last having a longer run in the Football League between February and September of 2006. That was obviously the season where we made the playoff final. And Barrow have won just 2 of their last 24 league games, drawing 6 and losing 16, beating Tranmere 3-1 in December and Colchester 1-0 in February. And like I said, Barrow are in shocking form, really shocking form. But that means nothing. Going into a game, you start level, and I think there may be a few changes. I think George McEachran may come in for this one. I would think maybe Geezer will be dropped out due to obviously going to be going away with the Pharaohs. See what he wants to really do. I suppose the one advantage they've got is because Rosey will know a lot of these boys. He'll know the strengths and weaknesses of a lot of them, so he could maybe give them a little bit of insight onto really what to expect. But I would think I wouldn't change much from midweek. Maybe no, I'd keep these Staunton in. I was going to say maybe bring Sweeney back in, but we need that delivery. I think it depends. If we start Andy Cook up top, which I will always vouch for, because boy was he a troublemaker against Fleetwood. Didn't score, but my God, did he put their defence under some real pressure. But probably keep Reece in, but maybe start Terrell Warren for this, because that'll be against his former club. And Terrell has been very patient, and Artel did mention that in his post-match here about the players that haven't played many minutes, But the thing is, as Artel always says, be ready, and you will be used. Be ready, and because it is frustrating for players, especially outfield players, when you're not out the team. But I would probably, whether I would start KV and Cook, do you know what I would? I'd give them another start. Well, it's not together, is it? Because obviously KB would be playing out wide if anything else, and I think that's the only reason why we won't do this, because Artel doesn't. But I'd probably go with 5, not to be defensive, but more. You need the wing backs to plough on, really, due to Jay's not being a natural winger. And like I said in the review of the Fleetwood game, you can tell that Jay's is not a natural winger, because he wasn't in the positions that a winger would be to be able to collect the ball in some periods, but there's times where he drifted in a bit too much. But it's one of those. I mean, if you can get Jays and Andy in the team at the same time, why wouldn't you do it? Obviously, Sun Suk Bell is an option before he goes away with Thailand. Do you start him on Andy Cook for this game? Maybe. Obviously, you're going to start Jackson Smith. I think the defence, apart from East Staunton, really, pretty much picks itself. The midfield, obviously, with Ev, I think you're going to go Jamie Walker. I'd be surprised if you went anybody other than Warts for this game. Don't know if Sirs Fleming's injured, but he's injured, but whether he'll be back, I don't know. But I've got a feeling it'll be a similar 11, so I'd probably say Jays may start that again on the wing again, especially if Sirs Fleming isn't fit. So I'd imagine it'll be Jays one side and Dower Burns the other side, with probably Walks and Green in the middle. Hopefully Cook up top, but we'll see. I know Artel likes to change things up from time to time, so we'll see. If we're going to go for a score line for this could be whoever scores first. I think if Town score first, I think they'll win this by 3 or 4. I really do. I think if Barrow score first, it probably will make Blundell Park quite edgy. I'm going to go for a scoreline of Barrow's last result. I'm going to go for us to win by 3-1. How many times does a former player come back and score against his former side? Well, hopefully it doesn't happen, but it's kind of written in the stars. We went in January. But I'm thinking the Mariners will still win this. So I'm saying 3-1 for the Mariners. Goal scorers. Harvey Rogers, Jamie Walker, and I will say Cookie. I just want Cookie to score goals because, I'm a real fan of Andy Cook, and I always have been, always will be. So I'm going to say Harvey Rogers, Jamie Walker, and Andy Cook with the goals, 3-1. I've got a feeling Rosey's going to get one, but it's just the old player mystique, kind of like what Andy did against Walsall. It's just one of those things. But you never know. Don't give him a penalty though. I don't think he's on them. I think he should be Josh Gordon, who was a player that we've also got to watch for Barrow. He's Josh Gordon that he can cause trouble for them. They've got some decent players at Barrow. I'm absolutely amazed to see Barrow in the position they're in, especially fighting relegation. Maybe lower part, yes, but I wasn't expecting them to be bottom at this point. But Newport and Harrogate, they have improved, whereas Barrow has sort of decreased. Those two clubs have gone and starting to pick up more points than Barrow, I suppose it happened. So that's my thoughts. Like I said, 3-1 win, I think, for Grimsby over Barrow, which would take us very nicely into the international break, and hopefully we can get that done. I will be at Blundell Park on Saturday. Hopefully see some of you guys there. If I do, it'll be a pleasure to have a chat with any of you and tell me your thoughts. It was nice to actually talk to a nice old gentleman at the Fleetwood game, and a nice old army veteran. It was very nice to spend about 5-10 minutes talking to him about his time in the service as well, and his thoughts on Grimsby in general. I thought that was a lovely chat I had on Tuesday night. That was a pleasure to spend 5-10 minutes talking to him, and that's something I love to talk to you people about anything. It doesn't have to be the football just because I like the football. It can be just generally, I love that. It was fantastic. It was a great little chat. And I hope, sir, if you do see this, I do hope that you are doing fine and you enjoyed the win as well on Tuesday night. But that's this preview done, guys. Let me know down below what you think, and let me know what you think the score's going to be. Do you think Danny's going to come back and haunt us a little bit? I hope not, but it's kind of written in the stars, isn't it, that he's at least going to... I think he might score tomorrow. But if we start on the front foot, I don't know whether Barrow can be able to live with it, but you never know. You know, it's important in these games. So leave me your score prediction down below, your thoughts. Like I said, if I see you at the Grimsby game, do come and say hello, and we'll have a good chat and good thoughts about the running. And like I said as well, hit that bell button. That'll let you know when I upload the review and other videos, of course. And also, don't forget, 2 more videos coming out next week, obviously with no game. Well, there'll be 3 videos actually. I'm going to do so the 3 videos that's going to be coming out next week. So hit that bell button. That'll let you know when this gets uploaded. The 3 videos that I'm going to be talking about is going to be the what's going to happen with Arteta. It seems like there is some traction in that rumour. What I think about the international break, and the question for that is, and I'll go more in depth in it in the video, is it getting to the point now where maybe the international break needs to become a blanket thing, so every team in the Football League gets an international break, rather than some get an international break and others don't. Maybe it needs to become blanket. So that is coming up this week as well, including I'm going to do a game week for the following week in regards to the score predictions for the following weekend, because why not? Just to give you out some content for the week, so something is coming out from me next week rather than nothing at all. So 3 videos for you there to look forward to and get involved in. Do like, do share, do comment, and do subscribe. Hit that bell button. That'll let you know when all these videos are uploaded and are live on the channel. Until then, guys, I will see you for the review of Barrow. Leave me your comments and thoughts down below. And I will see you in the next one. Let's just hope we can keep Danny Rose quiet, shall we? I'll see you guys soon. Ta-da.